All right, I'm coming right now. Okay, I would like to start with the.
I've seen where to type.
Are you seeing the slide? Are you seeing the slideshow? Are you seeing the slideshow? Are you seeing my slide?
Wait, I'm coming. Yes, I can see.
It's all right. Okay, so this is I titled this Investment Risk and Decision Making plus Introduction to PHRealWealth, powered by NFI and Edigo Estates. We've started recording. Let's run through by way of introduction. Because you know me, my name is Peter Kanemo. I'm the author of the book Money While You Play: What Real Estate Vendors Don't Tell You. I have interest in few companies, including Edigo Estates since 2014. I'm the managing director. I have also affiliations with Newezi Finance International, it's an indigenous finance firm, which also is a finance manager of PHRealWealth, which I'm going to discuss with you later. You may have already known about it. I'm also a corporate member of FASIMA. FASIMA is a short for Port Harcourt's Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Mines and Power. Commerce, Industries, Mines and Agriculture, sorry. I'm also a certified member of Association of Estate Agents of Nigeria, and also a chartered associate of Chartered Institutes of Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria, CIIN, and also a certified member of International Due Diligence Organization, USA, and an alumni of University of Liverpool. All right, now Edigo Estate was incorporated since 2014. It owns Oduko Enclave, and that's where you have your land. We have over 500 plots there, which we've sold over 300. Okay, and it's located in the heart of the new city, Greater Port Harcourt city area. And there has been over 400% appreciation of that property over the past 4 years, getting to 5 years now since we got it. We have also an additional 100 hectares that we are going to open up in a very short while. And in combination with NFI, we have total assets under management in excess of 4.5 billion. And this is the layout. You already know about it. Quickly, let's enter into 3 types of plans, because many times many of us do not understand what it means to have a plan, especially financial plan. There are 3 types of plans that we work on unconsciously financially. Plan A is basically assets. Assets has to do with systems, building, having systems and patterns and the rest of that. What is assets? According to Kiyosaki, an asset is something that brings money into your account or into your pocket every month or regularly. Many people don't have that. Most people, I would say, don't have assets, something that brings money without their personal efforts, without their having to work the process again. The plan B is owning or being involved in businesses and investments. Okay, and this also is a form of financial plan that people are working on. Then plan C is what most people are known to be doing: to get a job, to acquire skill, to labor, to make their monies. And in actual sense, the general route is starting from plan C to plan B and then to plan A. But unfortunately, most people are always stuck at plan C, which is having to struggle to work and earn money, and so much that when they're retired, they normally find it easy to make any adjustments. Let me give you an example of someone I knew that was stuck in plan A, or plan C, sorry, which is getting a job and doing all what you need to do. He's a friend, a senior colleague I know in Shell. He was a manager and retired. I mentioned it in my book, Money While You Play. He, after retiring as a production manager or whatever, in SPDC. He came down with over 200 to 250 million. I knew he collected that time as his gratuity. And within 18 months, he called me that he's broke. He needs to sell one of his houses he stayed with while he was working in Shell. And I found out, I asked to know what he did with the money. And there were investments and businesses. Now, these are things he should have started long ago, but probably he was not well advised because many people enter into financial investment without getting proper advice, without getting the professionals to tell them anything they need to do. So, what are the reasons you must have a plan A? What are the reasons? Because, like I told you about this, my friend, it's never really been the same. He lost a lot of his money or much of his money to scams. Because I normally tell them if you're working in multinational, you're working outside the country. You don't know how as Nigeria works. You don't know how the business world operates. It's risky and it's not as straight and well defined as the system you're working in. So you need to learn some things, by the way, in preparation for your retirement period. Okay, so what are the reasons you should have a plan A, which is having assets that give you money to live the kind of life you need to live after your work days. Number one, 2014 pension scheme is defective in practice. My company, I was working with Crusader Insurance in 2000, 2006, sorry, 2004 to 2006. So before the Pension Reform Act, I was also in the forefront of sensitizing people who had already known that our model was what was used to do the pension scheme. But I don't want to dwell much on the pension plan. But what I know that is that the pension plan is defective in planning for retirement. And most people's only plan for retirement is contributory pensions, which is good and statutory, but it is not, it's still part of the plan C. Okay, then the next reason you should have a plan A is the default rule applies on all retirees. Most get broke after retirement. So if you want a different result, you need to do stuff differently. You know, I started working on this in 2001 when I was employed in a paid employment, a paid job, and I started looking at those who have passed through the system. And I wasn't impressed because over 90% of them were not comfortable. They were just barely surviving. And I didn't want to be like them. So I started thinking on building businesses, investments that will accumulate into assets that will bring money to my pocket with or without my personal efforts. All right, then I had to be working on many things. I lost a lot of money. I learned and I also progressed. Now, one of the reasons you also need to have a plan A is because lifestyles and needs change at retirement. What you need now, what you're doing now, is going to be entirely different. Maybe if you want to abroad, if you want to travel to Lagos and all those places, your flights are paid for fully, and your hotel are paid for fully by the company. It's not your money. But that time you're still going to be traveling. As a matter of fact, when you retire, you're going to want to do more, and you have a lot of time to enjoy what you worked for. So you are going to need to use money more than what you're using right now. And that means you need more money because that time the company is not going to sponsor your flights, it's not going to pay for your hotels, it's not going to let you have that holiday with your family the way you wanted or you were doing when you were with a friend because you're not coming out with them anymore. So that's why it's not going to be in their priority. All right. Now the next reason for having a plan A is that lots of cash cannot keep you rich. Okay, learning does. That you have so much cash does not necessarily mean that you're going to be rich. Cash is a currency, and currency moves with time. So if you keep money doing nothing in the bank or somewhere just like that, the best you have is that the value is going to be depleted over the years because it has to be moving, it has to be replicating, it has to be bringing more money. Okay, then the next reason is that an effective plan A must be sustainable. We are aware of so much plans that are online now and in circulation. Many of these plans are not sustainable. They are plans that could help you to make so much money so fast and move on. So many of the plans that are in circulation are not sustainable. So plan A should be a plan that is sustainable. And now let's find out, because most of the reasons why people don't have get involved in investments and in other businesses is because of risk. What is risk? What is risk? We have a lot of investments come our way every day. We have a lot of investments scattered everywhere. Every day you see one investment or the other. But a lot of them are motivational. They motivate you, put in money here. They motivate you, do this. They motivate you, do that, and you're going to get this. So, but we don't ask some questions, because they know that we are only looking at the profit, but we're not looking at the downside, which is the possibility of loss. And that's what the risk is. What is risk? A chance of loss, uncertainty of how much can be lost. Risk is also uncontrollable circumstances, right, that may happen. Risk is also unfavorable event or occurrence, unknown future occurrence, a setback, whether temporal or permanent. Okay, now we need to evaluate risk. How do we evaluate risk? How do we evaluate risk? Because like I said, in every investment, there's always a risk factor. So how do we evaluate this risk? Because when they come in, they will not tell you the risk involved. They want you to invest. And now this presentation is in two parts. The first part is to show you how or what to do in any investment that comes your way before you put your money. You can use this same pattern we give you and evaluate every other risk we show you, every other investment we show you. Okay, what other investment we give you, use this pattern, use this lenses. Sometimes you may not know the details. You can still consult us if it's something you need to give you an independent opinion. We can give you an independent opinion before you invest. So what are the risks that are available in investments that come our way? Right? There's number one, liquidity risk. What is liquidity? How fast and how easy is it to convert my investment to cash without losing value? Liquidity is very important. You know, I've met friends that built house. After building the house, they will need money to do some stuff, and they are broke. They are cash strapped, maybe to invest in their business or to do some other things. Okay, and that they've invested in a property to put residential tenants. It will take them at least 20 years or more for that capital to come out. So they are stuck. Their houses are taking the money and they're now in need of money. And unfortunately, most banks or no bank will give you money just because you have a house. They have to know how you're going to pay that money. First, the house is always the last resort. So liquidity is important. Some people also invest in business, expecting that they're going to make so much profit. But they found out that that business has to be running for the next 5, 10 years, or 2, 3 years or more. And within that period, they need to inject capital. So they found out that they are broke and some business shut down. It may interest you to know that most of the business you see that are opening shop and closing cannot be sustained. That means they cannot even pay their salaries, they cannot even pay their rent at the end of the year. Most businesses are running at a loss, and that's not because they are not profitable per se. Many did not do their homework well. One of the main problems that businesses face is liquidity. If you don't have liquidity, that you are profitable does not make sense. It can run down the business. And the next point of risk to consider is security. How is my capital protected? When they ask you to part with your money, what do they give you to hold in case the company goes down, in case the business goes down, in case the promises fail, right? So what is my security? The reason why many people put money in the bank and walk away and don't mind how much they get from it is because there's some risk that the bank is taking care of. The risk is related to insurance. The risk of insurance in having your money in the bank is that NDIC, Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, gives you the deposit. The depositor says that in case the bank runs down, they give you maximum of 500,000 naira if it's a commercial bank, but if it's a microfinance bank, it's 200 maximum. Even if you have 20 accounts and you have 100 million, that's all they will give you. The rest you may have to wait till they liquidate the assets, and that may take forever. So if you're putting your money in the bank, for example, the risk you're exposed to is that if the bank goes down, the highest you can get is 500. So if you put 10 million there, for example, your risk exposure is 9.5. All right. Well, for the past few years, almost over 7, 8 years now, so um, banks have not been going down, but it's just that they've been taking over, and that's because Soludo did something by creating AMCON. AMCON is Asset Management Company of Nigeria, whereby federal government injects capital into some failing institutions and buy back their toxic assets through the CBN. Okay, and then takes over that the management of that company. But the risk there is that this AMCON has a 10-year lifeline, after which if once it expires, that means we are still going to be faced with the risk of whatever we deal with the banks for. So it's important to know that we have risk. The only instrument that is without risk is the federal government bond. The federal government bond is secure, as in it's just that it's secure. It's called zero risk. Zero risk in the sense that the federal government cannot be dissolved except there is no Nigeria. And even if they say the country wants to divide, assets and liabilities are divided. Okay, so federal government is the most secure, and federal government, once you give money to federal government or you buy federal government bond, you can go and sleep with your 2 or 3 eyes closed. That is the most secure. It's zero risk. In fact, even if government is broke, they will tax you and I and pay. So that's how secure federal government bond is. But the only challenge with federal government bond is that the returns are below inflation, very low, sometimes 3, 4, 5%. It doesn't make much sense, except maybe treasury bills that might get up to 8, 9%. Okay, now that is still below inflationary rates. Okay, and there are other factors you consider when investing, which you shall get to know better later. But these are the earliest things you need to know: the security, the liquidity, the security, and then exit in case something happens. How do I leave? How can I walk away? Exit. Every house has an exit. If you enter the airplane, they will always show you the exit in case of emergency. So in investments too, when you enter any investment, you should watch out for exit. Even in buildings, in designs of buildings and stadia and big planned conference centers, there are exits planned because they make provision that anything can happen and you need to leave. The same thing goes for an investment. Anything can happen and you always need to leave. So you need to find out where is the exit in this business that is being proposed, or in this investment that is being proposed to me. Where is the exit in case things go wrong? The next thing is legality. How legal is it that, the transaction I'm dealing, is it recognized by law? Number one. Number two, which country's law? You see, I am really concerned about businesses that come into Nigeria a lot, especially from outside. Fine, many of these businesses are good, but a lot of them are fraudulent in the sense that when they enter, they will tell you it's an international business, that this business is registered in Dubai, is registered in Russia, and the rest of that. And you put in your money. If anything happens to your money, you put in 500,000, and something happens. How are you going to? Since they say that the law that is the supporting that business is in Russia, what is have you considered your flight ticket to Russia for litigation? Have you considered if you can pay the lawyer in their home country? How much is it? So if you have invested 500,000 and they don't deliver, and you find out that your ticket to and fro Russia is maybe about 1.5 million, the best is to abandon the 500,000 and your money is gone. So legality is very important. Okay, Shell, like what I ask people, Shell, is it not an international company? So why are they domesticated or registered in Nigeria? Because so that if anything happens, you can hold Shell here and talk to them, right? So first and primary thing, is this business registered in Nigeria? CAC, you can just use your phone and check CAC and put that name there. You see the faces behind it. You see their office. They should find out whether they have office here where you can channel grievances. Because when you enter into a business or an investment, you are into a contract, right? So something can happen to breach that contract. So how do you reach those people? How do you get remedies? Right? So it's very important you find out legality. Then, are they licensed to transact in that thing they are dealing with? Is it in their object clause? Is it part of what they can operate in? Okay, that's very important. Then integrity. Who am I dealing with? Do these people have track record of doing these things in the past before and succeeded, or are they starting with us? Are we the experiment? Okay. Then the next one is the assets. Is there assets involved? What is the value of what they have in the business? Many businesses come in and ask you to bring the money, all the money. That means you bear all the risk, and they have little or nothing. That's why when we started this presentation, I told you that assets under our management is over 4.5 billion, and that's because whatever we're asking you to put in, our money is already in it. We've already been doing it. We've already been, getting, bearing the risk, and we are still bearing the risk. Okay, so we don't ask you to bring in something we have not put in. So even if you go to the bank to get money, no bank will give you money except your money is inside the business. Nobody bank will give you money for that business except your money is in the business as well. So the same thing you should do when you have these offers coming, find out where these people have they been doing this thing for how long. When you hear someone that says, oh, they just launched this thing, this business is just being launched. In fact, they just launched it yesterday, day before yesterday. As you come in, you're one of the first people. This is a pre-launch and all that stuff. Okay, because most standard businesses all over the world, they always pride themselves of having been there for 10 years, 50 years, 100 years, and the rest of that. And that's to tell you that they've done this before, they've gone through the ropes, they are experienced, and you coming to invest with them, you should be comfortable that you're going to gain from their wealth of experience. But most of these get rich quick schemes, they come around and let you swirl your hair with what you can make in a short time, not telling you the risk, and just aiming at getting your investments. And once your investment comes in, you find out that you're gone for it. Your money is at risk, and there's nothing else you can do because you cannot hold them. Their money is not involved. So find out what assets they have in it. Then also, in terms of profits, whatever they are promising you in this segment, consider comparing um, um, a product of similar risk. All right. If products of similar risk, what is the return like? And then other economic factors like inflation. Many of us are used to putting our monies in the bank or some other conventional or traditional investments or risk-free investments, so to speak. Even have their risk. We put in our monies there, and we feel, oh, they are paying me 10%, or they are paying me 7% if it's fixed deposit or whatever, and we don't think about the value of our money. Now, if you put money in the bank and they're giving you 7% in fixed deposit, for example, the inflation hovers between 12 and 14. There was a time it got to 18%. So if it's 14, for example, and they're giving you 7%, at the end of the year, it means you've lost 7% of the value of that money. Okay. In fact, if you had any family inheritance of about 100 million, and the tool you're using is fixed deposit in the bank, right? You find out that after 4 or 5 years, the value of that asset is depleting. Is depleting. The value of that money is depleting. So many people that are investing in the traditional investment vehicles. They are having their money depleting without their knowledge. Because what we are holding now is not real money. What we are holding is currency. And what does that mean? It means it moves. How many of us remember those plays they used to do in parties and some occasions that they will say, pass this basket, pass the basket. They call this pass the basket. Okay, and they will play music. Whenever the basket stops, is the one that exits. Okay, and that's exactly what money is in real life. Actually, that play, no matter how it looks funny, but that's how money is in real life. So if you have money and you cannot pass it, you cannot move it, you cannot move the money around to get returns, and it's stuck with you, you fail. You fail. Okay, so you see, in the current economic system, savers are losers, right? You would never see any rich man that is saving money in the bank. Instead, you see them using the bank money to run their business. Now, that's very, very key that you should know. No rich man saves money. Instead, except maybe for is the upkeep money. That's not savings, just upkeep and contingency fund. But they don't save money in the bank. Instead, they are borrowing. If you find out what some of these big names own in the bank, you'll be amazed. You'll be asking how they are using the bank money to run their business. So profit should be compared to you should have some economic factors before you now say this is profitable or this is not profitable. Now, cash flow, how soon is it before I start earning? And then finally, payback. How soon can I get my capital back? So if I put in 10 million, how many years or how many months does it take before my 10 million comes out? Now, these are some of the things we should look at in risk evaluation. Now, why do we talk about risk? Why talk about risk? Why talk about risk? In the world of investment, it's only the sophisticated that become rich. It's not everybody. And for you to be sophisticated, you have to know about risk. So what we talk about risk is first sophistication, you know what you're doing. And secondly, sustainability. How long can I be doing this thing? Okay, it's not jump in, jump out. How long can this thing be? How long can I be earning? How long can this system, this platform, keep producing, keep giving me what I want? And then finally, succession. Many times when we invest, we don't think that the next generation is coming. And that's why most parts of the Black Africa, we are very poor. You see, consistent, you see businesses from Asia, Europe, and America that have been there for the past 50 to 100 or even 200 years. Family business that have been handed down over the generations. Like this Toyota we drive today. Toyota, the current um, owner of Toyota is the fourth generation. So Toyota has had its fourth generation owner. The great grandfather started Toyota and he started with threshing instruments. And this is not just one, we have many of them repeat like that. But you scarcely see any business in Nigeria that is up to 50 years. Scarcely. Very scarce. Right? I stand to be corrected, but I've been searching at scarcity. And that's because we don't think of doing this thing long term. We only think of ourselves. I met somebody that said, "Come in this year already. Say I don't want something that you do for. I want something I'll eat money now." I say, "Yeah, if you eat money now for tomorrow, okay." But the thing is that when you think only for what you can get now, only for what you can get today, only for what you can get this year, the chances are that you are going to be a loser. All right. So in the long term, so that's very important. That's why we always look at risk and we always encourage everybody to look at risk in the cost of investment. Now, I'd like you to look at a concept because this concept precedes what I want to present to you right here. Is the concept of urbanization. There's a man I respect so much, and this man, he has made some few predictions that has made him become the richest man in the world, and he has made so much money. His name is Bill Gates. But there are a few of his predictions that didn't come to pass. One of his predictions that gave him the wealth he has today is that he said that he foresaw that every stable and every home, everyone should have or would have a computer, and that's the time that the mainframe computers, the mini computers, were in vogue. Organizations were the ones buying computers. Individuals were not buying computers, but he foresaw it and began to design softwares that will make computer user friendly, not only for the engineers. And that's when Microsoft became a leader in the market. At the point, Microsoft was controlling over 90% of the software market. I'm not sure it's still controlling 90% right now, maybe, but it's still controlling a vast majority of the market. But you see, that was one of his predictions. But there are some of his predictions that did not come to pass, right? He said that he envisioned paperless office. He said that in one of his books, Business at the Speed of Light. He was envisioning paperless office. But you can see that the more systems, the more technology we have, the more papers are also increasing. There's need for hard copy and the rest of that. And there's another prediction of his that failed, which is written here it's about urbanization. He said something. He says, that I thought digital technology would eventually reverse urbanization. And so far that hasn't happened. Now I have a quote as well related to this. I said here, when you buy land, you secure an accommodation. But when you urbanization, you secure a kingdom. A kingdom here means financial security. It means assets that will guarantee long-term cash. It means whatever you want for yourself. And you know that economic stability is very, very important. Economic empowerment, sustainability is very, very important. Now, let me say something here about urbanization. What does urbanization mean? It means the social process whereby cities grow. It means the ratio of increased infrastructural development in a congestion in a location. Okay, urbanization also means planned or unplanned expansion of an existing city or township due to over congestion and existing or current urban space. Okay, now a legislation aimed at creating or expanding a city in order to accommodate more people is also known as urbanization. And there is something that we also need to know about Nigeria in terms of urbanization. Nigeria is one of the places that has experienced one of the highest rates of rural urban migration in the world. You see, most governments concentrate in the cities while leaving the hinterland or the suburbs, no, let me say the rural areas neglected. And even no matter how you put in stuff there, as long as there are no plans in those areas, because many states don't really have master plan that covers all the local governments. Many states don't have that. Okay, they only have for the urban areas that they've declared in terms of the capital and the adjoining local government. Okay, so this is what happens. There are three major cities that has experienced massive urbanization. That's Lagos. Lagos is getting, in fact, Lagos is oversaturated at this point, right? And it's spilling over to Ogun State now. Then we also have Abuja, and then we also have Port Harcourt. Now, Port Harcourt, no matter what people are saying about Port Harcourt, there's something that is making Port Harcourt irresistible, even in spite of what people may be hearing about Port Harcourt. Okay, so and it may amaze you that for the past 10 years, there has been at least 100% increase in value of properties in Port year on year. Okay, year on year. Now we'll get more into this, but let me let you know a few things about few risks about urbanization. Investing in urbanization, there are 8 major risks. Number one, legality. Legality has to do with title evolution. When did the title? Who gave the title out? Is he authorized to give that title out? There's also what is called statute bar. It's in the property law that if you have not been in a property for up to 10 years, it's still open to litigation. Whether you have CFO, deed of conveyance, or whatever it is, CFO is also contestable in court. Okay, so it doesn't mean that because you have CFO, you are exempted. So legality has to do with title evolution. If that is faulty, you're going to have an issue. That's a risk. Another risk is environmental. How healthy is the atmosphere? The next is security. How safe am I and my interests in the place? The next is compliance. Does the plan conform with regulations, with government's, master plan? Then the next one is look topographic risk. Is the land bad? And if it's bad, is there a remediation plan? Okay, consequent risk is also there. If the place is not as developed as planned, there is an issue. Then liquidity, how soon do I start earning? That's my payback as well. And then you also have relocation. What happens when or if I decide to leave this location? Then how can I start investing now? That is capital. Now these are some of the risks that we are going to, we face in urbanization. And that's what we are doing in PHRealWealth is meant to resolve. Now we've concluded the segment for risk. I want to see briefly a product we call PHRealWealth. PHRealWealth, and that's you remember we talked about liquidity, we talked about affordability, we talked about exits, and a few other things. We talked about real estate. We talked about investments generally, and all those things. The risk we spoke about is also in real estate as well. The number one problem in real estate is liquidity, and we have made the PHRealWealth a platform that you can obtain liquidity. Let me explain it in this way. Are not liquid in itself. The shares of a company is not liquid in itself. What makes the share liquid is because it's a platform for exchange, so that if Dangote sugar wants to sell, he doesn't have to go house to house looking for who to buy. He just contacts the brokers, and the brokers store it open in the market for sale. And then the person that wants to buy does not need to know Dangote in person or whoever owns the company in person. He just sees that this shares is available and this share is selling for so and so rate, and he buys into it. Now, that's exactly what we are doing with PHRealWealth. PHRealWealth is a platform that allows people to sell own investments using real estate, as their platform. So how does it work? It is highly flexible. It works in two ways. Either you want to acquire land, right? You want to acquire land. You have the money, you want to acquire land in a safe way. In Port Harcourt, our base is actually Port Harcourt, and our focus right now is Ikwerre local government, because let me tell you a bit about what has happened in the past couple of years. Rivers State has, improved, or let me say expanded in population for the past couple of years, such that the government now found out that the initial local government, I did not know that FAGA, that's Port Harcourt City local government, was that big until the day I went to Borokri. I found out that Borokri was very big and is very big. Now, the population, the investment, the usage of the initial Port Harcourt City local government is saturated. From that saturation, that was the initial Garden City, because it was well planned. The whole city was well planned. Where they called Garden City was actually Faga town, basically town, stopping at Park. Okay, then it now extended to Obiapo. Now Obiapo is at the stage of saturation. That's why in 2009, the government of the state decided to inaugurate or to pass into the law the bill enabling Greater Port Harcourt Development Authority. That's the regulatory body. But the authority has supervision in 6 small local governments where Port Harcourt is experiencing urbanization. All right. Now, those 6 small local governments include parts of Obiakwa is that's the original local Fagan Obiakwa. Parts of it. It includes Ikwerre local government. It includes Eche, Eleme, Ogubolo, Okrika. Those 6 local governments. That means, I repeat it: Ikwerre local government, Eche local government, Ogubolo, Okrika, Eleme, and Oyibo local government. These are the 6 small local governments that has been added for the expansion of the existing city. So if you want to come into PHRealWealth investment, we are focused on basically Elema and Ikwerre local governments. All right, in the urbanization drive, especially Ikwerre local government, because that's the headquarters of Greater Port Harcourt City Development Authority, and that property is there. And there's somebody, one of us here already have some properties in that area. You can see. I will tell you a little bit about that area just before we shut down. So now, how does PHRealWealth work? So either you're coming to own land properly, or you want to invest in urbanization, which is to also earn how we are earning or you call it fund management. So you want to use land as the underwriting platform for your fund management. Okay, like I said earlier on, when you invest in traditional instruments, you are going to get traditional returns because of some restrictions. And those traditional returns most times do not beat inflation, which ranges between 12 and 14%. And the highest guarantee they give you is that they are going to take care and they are going to be professional. But if anything gets lost, you cannot hold anybody. The bank gives you is NDIC insurance, and that's 500,000 naira maximum. So if you have 10 million, you're only covered for 500,000. That's all. So, but in this PHRealWealth platform, if you're coming in, your interest is not in land ownership. You want to invest in urbanization, just as you've noticed that Port Harcourt is expanding from statistics as you've seen. What do you do? What are you getting? You're going to get 30%. And how do we do it? If you come in with cash, we give you land to hold as a security. Why do we give you land to hold? In case anything happens to the company. Because like I said, nobody is infallible except God and maybe the federal government. The reason why the federal government is zero risk is because the federal government owns Nigeria. Or even if it's state government, if the state government is broke, it will increase its tax. Any of the government, they will just tax people. All right. So except the government of the day is resolved or is dissolved, that's the only time that government instruments are faulty, but they don't get dissolved like that. Even if they divide the country, they divide both the assets and liability. So, but we say we are not giving you insurance like financial institutions give you insurance. We are not giving you insurance for your investment. We are giving you land to hold. And you hold this land in case anything goes wrong, you close up on the land, you auction it, or you take it. Okay, so that's the security. Like I said, if you were here when we were enumerating the risk, security risk, what is the security to my capital in any investment you're entering into? What secures my capital? Let there be property, let there be something that I hold in case my capital or something happens, I can hold this. All right. So that's how PHRealWealth works. It works either you want to acquire land, you can start by investing little by little for that acquisition, or if you want to come for a investment proper, you use land as a platform of underwriting that risk so that in case anything happens, so you close up. All right. It's I'd like to let you know this, that people that came up with us when we started Oduku Enclave. When we started Oduku Enclave for about 4 years, getting to 5 years ago, when we started Oduku Enclave, people that came up with us in that investment, because this is the first time we are throwing it open to a wider audience. We did what we are doing now for over almost 5 years now, right? People that came up with us when we got Oduku Enclave was sold for about 750,000 at the start. That was the first transaction that we did for Oduku Enclave, 750, and we're looking for a few number of plots, but just 1 or 2, 3 people got it at that rate. Then it metamorphosed to 800 to 900, and then people started rushing, and then it grew up to 1.1, 1.2, 1.5. After the approval came 2 million. Before you know what's happening, 2.5, 3 million. It got down a little bit when the new government, this administration came in, but it rose back up. And now, right now, as I speak to you, properties in that area are even costlier than our own property. Like there's about 2 government projects there. They are selling for the other one over 15 million and the other one over 25 million per plot. So ours is still the cheapest there. And even the community lands, the native lands, they are selling for 3.5, 4 million. So the properties in that area has gone up over 400% in the past 4 years. All right. So there's somebody in particular that got a property from us. I think about 24 plots at 20 million. That comes to about 833,000, 33 naira and all that. So right now his property is worth almost 100 million. Okay, so that's 100% year on year. So this is what people get, by investing in land. Okay, now how do you get started? You just go to our website, phrealwealth.com, sign up. But you need a sponsor. So a sponsor is the person that brought you or invited you. He will give you his link because it's an agent. It's the agent, so that the commission goes to him. All right. You can also be an agent or a broker. Okay. So sign up using the sponsor's username and then buy outright or buy a unit. We've made it so affordable that you can decide to buy outright if it's 1 plot you want to invest in. Or if you want to get in units, you cannot buy the whole plot. You want to invest in units, broken it down into units. The unit is 10,000. So either you get 1 unit or you get multiple units, right? You can make the payments online It's a payment. You can make transfer. The site hosts the links to the transfer accounts, or maybe on this slide I will show you the accounts to make the transfer to. You're already started, right? And every month 2.5% comes to you as an investor. Now, we have two products basically. Two products basically. The first one we call a diamond. The diamond is the existing land. I hope everyone is still free. Can I get a witness there?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay. All right. So
Yes, I'm
okay. So now the diamond is actually the existing land. The existing land that many of us know already, the one that we've been selling for the past 4 years. We call it diamond. We like to use this diamond as a tool for investment. Now, anybody that gives us any money that you invest in PHRealWealth, you're going to be given a land in the diamond. That's the Duku Enclave. You're going to be given a plot of land there. Now, remember, this land is fully paid for. It's not power of attorney, it's not HNC at all, it's our property, fully paid for. We're going to give you a property there to hold for the value of your investment. We give you an agreement showing that you have an equitable or interest in that property. So that's like a security to you, right? Then once you get that, whether you're paying fully if you pay for a full plot, we give you a plot. We allot a plot. We give an allotment letter with a plot number. If you like, go and build fence or whatever. But if that your interest was not in the property, right? 12 months, the rental ceases because we are paying you rental on that property or on that land or on your money. We are paying you 2.5% every month. Supposing you put in 4 million, we give you a title to a land, and every month we are paying 2.5 of 4 million is 100,000 every month. So in a year you collect 1.2. So if your interest was not really in the land, your interest was in investment, right? You can, if you want to continue beyond that 12 months, you can continue. Your capital is still there. You can ask for your capital anytime and get your money out. If you're tired of the rentals, you can also say, oh, I don't want the rental again, I want the land. So at any point you want to close up and take the land, you get the land at the value of the land at that time. But if it's within that 12 months, you have a contract for 12 months and your interest was in the land. After that 12 months, you close up and take the land. Now you can start with any amount. What happens is that whatever you start with, if your interest is in the land, if it's this particular diamond, you need to pay up in 12 months if your interest is in the land for you to take the land. If you don't pay up in 12 months, you have 4 options. Number 1, you can roll over to the next year at the price, whatever price the value is after the expiration of that 12 months. Even if you start now and the value goes up tomorrow, you are not in the new price until your 12 months elapses. So if your 12 months elapses, you were not able to pay up, you are going to have to pay at the whatever rate it has come to. Now, another option you may ask, maybe a new layout has come up, maybe like we are planning to bring out the new one. You say, please push my money from this diamond to gold, another layout that we may introduce, and we put it there and give you an allotment. Another option is that if your interest is that not in the land, you can say, okay, or even if it was in the land but you cannot meet up, you can say, oh, please continue pay me the rental or give me my money back. So it's all yours. Okay. So if you start, whenever you started investing, you're going to start earning rental 0.5% every month, which accumulates to 30% every year. All right. So it doesn't have to be 4 million, maybe 1 million, maybe 500,000, maybe 50,000, it may even be 10,000 to start. Then you start augmenting, increasing every month or every other month. Whatever happens, there's no penalty for skipping any month. Everything depends on you and how you want it to be done. Let me give you a little bit of what the next option is. People will like coming for when the soup is done. But I bet you, when you are in the process of preparing it, ask ladies that go to the market, even if you have a budget of 10,000 naira, for example, yeah, for the markets, you still make profits if you're cooking to sell. you still make profit to it from that 10,000 and make some more. So that's how gold option is. You see, gold option is the process. Like this diamond I told you now, the land at Iguta, it started like a gold option with our partners, all right, and they end, and it was going through, right? And we are, since you've tested it for that number of years and it worked, before we now say we can throw this to the open. You see, it's not good to always throw out an idea to the public that has not been tested. So this is the gold option now that we are planning to open a new layout in a short time. And what that entails is that if you come in this time, you're going to get opportunity of being one of the initial stakeholders, and you're getting it at a discounted rate. There's no pricing yet, but when we open that layout, we tell you the rate. Most times it may be anything around 1 million plus or minus. This time we want to make it a bit richer, in the sense that we are going to say, okay, maybe we can maybe give C of O along with it and many other stuff with it. Okay, so when you start now as the initial investor, you're going to get some advantages that you would not ordinarily have if you did not invest at that time. If you read my book, I say that the people that make the most, my book, Money While You Play, What Real Estate Vendors Don't Tell You, the people that make the most out of real estate are not people that come when the place is already developed. They are people that come when the before people know about the place, okay? And that's how it goes. So in gold options, in a gold, you have opportunity of starting before everybody know about the place, okay? All right, now let me give you an instance. But even in gold and in silver, or in gold or diamond, this is what happens to you. This is your rental. Let's assume that you invest 100,000 monthly. That's what you plan to do. This is not static. It's just an illustration, right? You want to do 100,000 monthly. So 2.5% of 100,000 is 2,500. That will be the rent for the first month. The next month you must have put in another 100,000 naira. So you're going to have 2.5% of 200,000 naira. That's the first and the second month. And your rent is going to be paid to you 5,000 naira. And it goes on and on for the next 12 months. So after 12 months, you must have, saved up or invested up to 1.2 million. And you must have been paid up to 195,000. Okay, in that year. And you can continue if you want to. Now remember, there's no penalty for skipping any month, or only that whatever is in your account balance per month is what is paid to you at the end of every month. Now let's suppose that you put in 1.2 million at once. Put in 1.2 million. Now every month that amounts to 2.5% of 1.2 million is 30,000, right? So in 1 year you will pay 30,000 every month till 12 months. You can continue beyond 12 months. This is just an illustration. Okay, then, but if your interest is in the land, your land will be transferred to you after 12 months. The rent stops. But if you're not interested in using the land yet, you keep getting this rental. I must tell you that for the past almost 12 months right now, we've been paying rentals and we've not failed. Okay, so we've not everyone that's been on the platform, they've been earning rentals every month. Okay, now let's assume that you deposit for a full plot. A full plot is about 4 million. 2.5% of 4 million is the rent is 100,000 every month. So in 1 full year, you must have gotten 1.2 added to your 4 million. That's 30% of that amount. And now, like I said, if it's for long-term fund management, you're not interested in the land, you still hold the land as your security while the rent still keeps coming. Now, if you follow this strategy, you find out that in about 3 years and 4 months, that your 4 million must have been paid back, and you still have your 4 million there. Okay, now if you had built a house, for example, like people that believe in residential property, that your capital will be tied down for 20 years minimum before that your capital comes out. But you see, on this, it's coming out in 3 years, 4 months. Now, if you even say, like some people give us instruction that we should not pay the rent, that you should compound So if you compound the rent for the whole year, what you're getting is 1.379 million, not 1.2 anymore. So it's going to be far much, a bit more than the 1.2 million. So you see that in 3 years or less, your capital is out. Okay. Now, at this point, I'd like you to understand that you're going to get the best. You're getting the best of two worlds. What is the best of two worlds? In the financial if you're doing financial institutions, what is the security? They give you insurance. What is the insurance? NDIC. But we are giving you land to hold. All right. Liquidity. If having your money in the bank, you're going to have you can have instant access to your money, or you have what are we giving you? You have 90 days. If you give us notice, we say that in this system, if you put in your money and you want your money back, you give us 90 days notice, you can get your money back. We've actually done 1 week, we've done 14 days, we've even done 24 hours, we've done same day, but the time we give people if you want your money back is 90 days. And what are the do's, what are the terms? If you're getting your money back before 12 months, you have 30% penalty on the rentals only, not your capital. 30% penalty. And then also after your first installment, there's 14 days processing period before the renter starts reading. And it's automated actually. It's not something you need to call for anything. It's automated. You'll be seeing it once you sign up online there, you see your this thing. You see your dashboard. Yeah, you see your dashboard and you see your rentals. Every day you see it, even if it's 1 naira to 2 naira adding, you'll be seeing it added. So at the end of the month, it's paid to the accounts you submitted, and the rentals are paid, and we've been being consistent in paying rentals. So you get that. You also get the benefit of investment. Then what are the benefits real estate give? They give you income. They give you rental income. So in that way you start getting rent from first month. You start also having capital appreciation if you do compound interest, and then you also get your capital paid back in 3 years or less. So these are the best of two worlds that you have in PHRealWealth. And what is the difference between this and others? Is that all your risks are being transferred. The only risk you have here is that do we own the land we are giving you? That is the only risk. That is the only risk, right? So aside of that, you don't have any risk. And we have somebody here that owns property in Oduko Enclave. Abi, can I get a witness in the house?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so people know the place, but if those people don't know the place, you can like this is how I tell people to do due diligence. If you're not familiar with an environment, especially in real estate, just get a lawyer or a certified surveyor, pay him something to go and do some investigation. Okay, and that's all. And if it's any, because why I'm saying a professional is because they are always conscious of their certificates. If they do anything unethical, they can be recalled or they can be sanctioned. Okay, so you can pay this amount, do this due diligence for me, and whatever it does, and you get back. A lot of people have been coming to our office, even anonymously, to do due diligence. We give them all the information, and they go back to advise their clients that these things are genuine, these claims are okay, and they take decisions. So we can do that. So even don't believe anybody that told you about us. Just do your own due diligence so that you're sure that you're trading or you're doing the right thing. Okay, that's very important. So at this point, I'd like to entertain your question before we see how we can start rounding up this session. Thank you very much. So I'd like to have your questions. So in case I know some people came late, so I'd like to have your question.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Presentation is very elaborate and very clear. So you talked about agent, at least talking to other people to bring other people to the business.
Yeah.
So we may not be able to explain all these things that you have told us verbally. Will it be possible that you put this presentation in a booklet form so that we can get it and pass it across to some people?
Okay, that's very, very good. If you don't mind, I'd like to have a session with agents tomorrow. But this is what we advise agents or brokers. You know, Nigerians, we are very wonderful in reading. We are very if it's reading. Some people may not. I have somebody is my church member. She's my church member. She invested a small amount, and I gave her the documents. I said she should read through it and sign. You know, as I speak to you, it's almost 2 months now. She said, when I see her, yeah, I never even open them. I never even. you can give somebody flyer, you know, or you will not even read it. Okay,
we will refer them to you.
So that the best we do is this. We don't need you. You don't need to make the presentations. We'll be hosting these online presentations regularly, and sometimes once in a month. I think in the next 2 weeks we are going to hold another a physical presentation that will invite people, and if need be, we can stream it online, and we can also, if you have one or two persons you want me to present to them, we can arrange a time apart from the general presentation, and I'll present to them for you, so that let them their attention be full, and they ask their questions, and I'll deal with it for them, and whatever they need to know, they get to know it, you know, because psychologically, when you see people face to face, it makes more impact than just reading stuff. Anybody can paste something and pass around. So the only option we may do is that we are considering doing some videos, short videos that you can send. Okay, I'm going to do that. That should be out in the next few days or so. You can consider doing short video of the product that you can send to people to take decisions. All right. So that's the option. But we have booklets. Actually, I've given you one of the booklets before, right? I've given you.
I have.
So did you read it? Did you understand what I was telling? Okay. Did you understand it as better as I'm explaining it now?
This presentation is better than the other one.
Exactly. You have already, in fact, the question has been answered. Your question. So those booklets, we spent a lot of money, but the results we had was not okay. So we have to start presenting. Actually, before we printed that booklet early this year also. Yes, very early this year. But we were not seeing the responses we were expecting, and the booklet got exhausted. But we started seeing responses when we started organizing these presentations like this. That's when we started seeing responses. So this is the best.
It's better. This is better. Right. I read the booklet, but this is better.
All right. Any other question before we see how we can round off? Any other question?
No.
Mrs. Ejike, do you have question? Have you fully understood what we've done? I know you came a little late.
Yeah, I did come in late, but I understand what you guys are about.
Okay. So have you made a decision to sign up now?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Okay. Now there's something juicy. You know, I like people that get things. You know, most times before you make a very good decision, when you want to make a good decision, it's not something you procrastinate. Like I tell people, you start small. Even before you come with your 20 million, 10 million. If you have 100,000 now, start. If you have 50, start. If you have 10, any amount you have, just start. Okay. So when you start and you have tested it and you see how it goes, you can now decide to increase. You have more confidence. So start small. You understand? Don't wait till when they pay that upfront, when they pay that millions into your account before you now. No, just start with whatever you have now and watch it and see. Okay, and watch it and see. That's why I encourage people. And there are two things I like you to understand. Just me to round up right now. How do people use PHRealWealth? They use it as urban investment plan, because I said something that if you invest in urbanization, you're investing in the financial future. I have a story of someone that's put in money in 1997. Sorry. We have several of those stories. Some of you may know some. This one put in about how much? About that 200 and something naira or so in 1978, and bought like how many hectares? 4 hectares or so. By the time that they were pricing that place last 2 years, it was 2.8 billion. 2.8 billion. And what did he do? He just fenced the place and left. He's a developer. He's someone that is well known in this town, this state. Okay, he fenced the place and left. By the time people were pricing over almost 40 years after, the whole place has developed, only his land, but they were pricing 2 something billion, just the land alone. There was a time Stadium Road was selling 150. People were not going to Stadium Road. They say, it's water, it's this and that, it's too far. But some people bought 150, 200, 250. Stadium Road now, if you hold 30 million, you may not see one plot. There was a time when Peter Lee was 600,000. It's not too far. Peter Lee was 600,000. Get to 700, 800. Now Peter Lee, on the Peter Lee itself, you know what it means. If you don't have 30 million or more, you won't get it. Do you know that it was within 1-2 years, it jumped to like 10 million? Within 1-2 years, jumped to 10 million, jumped to 20 million. Now, the urbanization plan that we have now, that is on ground right now, is Port Harcourt. See, Port Harcourt, let me give you a stat about Port Harcourt. Port Harcourt is experiencing urbanization, but people don't know. But I can tell you consistently in the past 10 years, there has been 100%, in spite of the security people are shouting, in spite of whatever, people are developing, people are moving, people are shifting. And the worst part is that, unlike before Greater Port Harcourt was established, government did not really have plan for that area, for expansion. So, but you cannot stop people from expanding. So people were just expanding. The time that Greater Port Harcourt was enacted, land was about 300,000 naira at the location that we have our land now. Right now, 10 years after, 9 years after, land is in the range of 4 million plus. What does that tell you? And that 4 million is just shaky, because there are some people that are selling more than that, depending on the particular location. Okay. Now, the next 10 years, what is going to happen in Port Harcourt, in Ikwerre local government? Now, we have some concrete plans on ground, because we have an attorney covering over 100 hectares of land. Most of them are in Ikwerre local government, right? So people that partner with us at this level, okay, they are going to enjoy some benefits. Now, let me mention some of them. By first quarter, we are going to roll out the plans of what we've done and what is available, and even the location, the exact location. And then what we are looking at is about 500 plus for pre-sale investors. 500 plus for pre-sale. Who are those that are pre-sale investors? Those that can invest minimum of 100,000 naira, right? Those that can pay for the main price. The main price will not be, it will be anything plus or minus 1 million. We give them duration of between 1 year to 3 years to pay up. Now, while before the allocation, you're going to be still earning your 2.5% every month. Then at the point of allotment, you're going to have 20% pre-sale discounts. And what is the security? If you put in big money, we go to use our property in Oduku Enclave and secure your money. Temporary, you just secure your money so that in case anything happens. So security is important, and we take it very seriously as well. So our security is the Oduku Enclave, right? So more details on this is coming up. So if you want to key in on this, because we are trying to raise people, we are trying to raise like this 500 plus or more to be taken. Now there are a lot more benefits for those that become our broker. And so become our broker, you don't need to do any extra work. Just copy and paste. That's why I tell people copy and paste. You understand? I just copied and paste some things in WhatsApp that you follow the link and join this meeting. So if you do the same thing, just copy and paste. Get some. So I will explain a little bit more. I did a webinar yesterday, but some people did not connect, maybe because of poor connection. So I'm going to do another one tomorrow. If you're ready, if you're available, it's just going to be like 1 hour, just 1 hour, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. If you sleep early, I don't know, maybe we can do it another time, but I will be doing it for the brokers. It's just for brokers, especially for brokers. They will see what they can gain from what we are doing. That's besides what you earn by investing in PHRealWealth. Okay, so for you to take advantage of this, if you were invited by me, you can notify me privately in WhatsApp. So I'll send you either my personal link or the admin link. I'm using the admin link now. So that I use the admin link to sign up and make a payment, right? And just get running. And we have different categories of brokers, but that tomorrow I'll let you know what the categories are. So that's the account number. We have EOAZ Finance, that's NFI, is the account manager. It's also providing liquidity for what we are doing. Partnership is very important and we take it seriously. So that's the account detail on the screen. But if you don't get it, I'm going to also send it to you. It's also on the platform. Once you sign up, you're going to see the account detail there. So if you want to write it down, you can write it down. We have two accounts: Polaris Bank, former Sky Bank, and Unity Bank. Okay, those are the two accounts that you can use in signing up, making payments. So you can use that account if you pay. There's something special I want to do for anyone that signs up after this webinar, and that is you sign up right now. I'll give you a copy of my book at a discount, special discount. The book is actually a must read for anyone that wants to make it in real estate investment. It started Money While You Play, what real estate vendors don't tell you. It's available on Amazon for about, I think, $12 or so. It's available in Konga, Jumia, and in Port Harcourt, it's available at everyday, next time supermarkets, Abacha Road, what do you call this place? Wisdom Bookshop by King's Assembly, Air Force Junction, and Bookville Supermarket, Bookville Bookshop at Bumblebee Road by Stadium Road. It's also available in leading bookshops nationwide and some churches as well. But if you buy, and the rate is 2,500. 2,500. I have a special price for people that come to this seminar, and that's 2,000. Then there's a rate I'm giving to brokers. I give them at a special rate. So if you attend the brokers meeting tomorrow, you get the rate. And if you want to resell it, no problem. But that's the book. Then this is a little bit about EOAZ Finance. It's NFI for short. It's also the finance manager of the PHRealWealth. Edigo Estate is the owner of the properties that we deal on. So any property you buy from us is secure. Remember, you can always get your money back, 100%. There is no real estate company that does that. If you buy your property from them and you want your money back, that you will get 100%. No, most times they deduct 20% from your money before they give you back. That's the practice actually. But when you deal with us, you get your money back 100% if you want it, if you don't want the land, right? So they've been founded since 2014, and they consist of all professionals in legal, finance, and other fields. Okay. Now, this is what you get as a broker. Yes, I will leave this much more tomorrow, but I just want to give you an idea, and then we shut down from here. This is what you get. This is what they call residual commission. Residual commission is 0.25%. So once anybody signs up under you as your client, right, you get 0.25% as long as the person's it will be showing in your dashboard. At the end of the month, they pay to you with your rentals, as long as the person's investment is with us. Not that they have bought the land and we work to it, but once the person is investing, and the beauty of this too is that if the person increases in investment, he may not tell you, but because it is automated, you'll be seeing it reflect in your residual, in your dashboard, and at the end of the month, it's paid to you. Then another thing you also earn as a broker is what they call commission, agency commission, or broker's commission, and it ranges between 1 to 5%, depending on the level of broker you are. We have about 4 levels of brokers. So between 1 to 5% on the first pay in only, right? Then we also have the, okay, these are the categories of brokers: ordinary brokers, regular, senior, and state brokers. Then the meeting for the brokers is 9 p.m. tomorrow. It won't take much time, maybe about 40-45 minutes, because we know that you need to sleep and prepare for the next day. I would have made it earlier, but I have some series of meetings that will take me till around that time. Okay, so that's why I fixed it for that 9 p.m. so that I won't disappoint. Okay, so but it's going to be if there is need to move the meeting a little backward, I will let you know. But let's keep it for that 9 p.m. so that everybody will be we have done whatever we need to do. So if you can attend, also notify me. I don't want to fix. I want to schedule the meeting. So if you can attend, I think I have some other brokers that would have attended. Some of them would have attended this webinar, but they've already attended few before. So they've already invested and all that. And some too are having network challenges. Some have sent me messages that they cannot connect, this and that. Okay, we are expecting at least up to 10 or more people. So, but I'm using Wi-Fi, and Mr. Jerry is also using Wi-Fi. I don't know whether you're using Wi-Fi. It's also sometimes network issues are limit some people from attending webinars. So we are going to do the physical seminars after next week. Okay, so thank you very much. I want to appreciate your participation in this webinar. So the product is there in case you want any of the books. I mean, any of my the book actually. Okay, like I said, the forum price is 2,000. Then the broker's rate is 1.5. They can buy as many in case they want to resell. You can also, if you have properties for sell, for let, or if you want to buy property, you want to search properties, you have opportunity of also signing up at edigo.com, or just check edigo.com. You see where you can upload or search for properties. The NFI is also the center where financial analysts are being trained. They write some exams, which is under the Institute of Stockbrokers in Nigeria. Okay, that's the authorized center in Nigeria. So in case you have interest in becoming a financial analyst and expert, you can also enroll, or let us know for the number of the director of studies to you, Joshua Olani, so that you can also get involved there. All right, then. Okay, that's the end. So thank you so very much in the absence of any other thing. So Ms. Ejike, do you want to start tonight? Hello, ma.
Yeah?
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I say, do you want to start? Have you already signed up on the platform?
No, I haven't. I was just here to hear more. So I'll get back to the person that introduced me.
Okay, somebody referred you.
Yeah.
Okay, who is that, please?
I don't know. I met him through my pastor in Winner. So I have his number, but his name is there, so I don't really know.
Okay, through your pastor. Is it Pastor Cranwell?
Winner's Chapel.
Rumibo?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Is it Peter? Maybe you didn't get my introduction.
No.
Is it Peter?
I didn't get it.
Huh? Are you
breaking.
pardon?
Okay, the network was breaking, but it's okay now.
Okay, so I wanted to know are you watching Nemere?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, you're watching Nemere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're not watching Nemere, right?
I am.
You're
That's my
watching.
middle name.
Okay, that's Pastor
Yes.
Pastor Cranwell, the director. I'm the one that gave you the link now.
Okay. Thank you.
I invited you to come to the
Yes, I'm
PHRealWealth.
Jeremy.
Yes, Devnik.
And it's close to my office, but I couldn't meet up.
Where's your office?
11B of Baggy Street, Jerry.
Okay, I don't know which one is Baggy Street, except I go there. Except it directs me. Okay, no problem. So what I'll do, I still have your number. I'll send you the link to sign up so that you can ask any
Okay.
questions. We take it up from there.
No problem.
All right, Mr. Jerry.
Yes.
Okay, I know
All
you.
right.
Okay. All right, so let's end the meeting. Mr. Jerry, you know it's almost time.
Yes.
Okay. Why not start with any amount?
Yes,
You say?
Huh?
I said, why not start with any amount?